Welcome to Legacy Coins. And before we go any further, let me ask you something that might just change the way you look at your loose change forever. Have you ever held a penny so ordinary, so completely unremarkable in your hand that you almost didn't bother picking it up off the ground? Most people walk past pennies every single day, kick them under the couch cushions, toss them into a jar they never open, or worse, leave them sitting on the sidewalk like they mean absolutely nothing. But what if I told you that one specific penny, minted right here in the United States in 1967, has been valued at a staggering $183 million? That's not a typo. That's not a misprint. That is a single 1-cent coin, the kind most people wouldn't even bend down to pick up, that carries a value so enormous it could purchase a private island, a fleet of luxury yachts, and still have millions left over. And right now, as you're watching this, that coin, or one just like it, could be sitting somewhere in your home, in a forgotten drawer, in an old coffee can in the garage, or tucked inside a childhood piggy bank you haven't touched in decades. So before you go anywhere, before you even think about skipping ahead, stay with us, because by the end of this video, you're going to learn exactly what to look for, exactly what makes this penny so impossibly valuable, and exactly how to tell if you might be holding a fortune in the palm of your hand. And I promise you this, what's coming later in this video about another coin from a completely different era is going to absolutely blow your mind. So do not go anywhere, because what we have lined up is something even the most seasoned collectors weren't prepared for. Now let's set the stage. The year is 1967. America is in the middle of one of the most turbulent, chaotic, and historically rich decades in its entire history. The Vietnam War is escalating. Social movements are reshaping the country. The space race is at full throttle. And in the middle of all of this cultural upheaval, the United States Mint is quietly working around the clock, trying to keep up with an almost impossible demand for coinage. You see, the 1960s brought with them a massive coin shortage that historians now call the Great Coin Crisis, and it forced the mint to do something it had never done on such a large scale before. Produce coins at a breakneck pace, sometimes cutting corners, sometimes skipping steps, sometimes allowing errors to slip through quality control that under normal circumstances would never have made into circulation. And that, right there, is the origin story of the 1967 Lincoln Memorial Cent and the extraordinary variance that makes certain specimens worth a fortune today. The Lincoln Cent itself had been redesigned in 1959, replacing the classic wheat stalks on the reverse with an image of the Lincoln Memorial designed by Frank Gasparo. By 1967, this coin was already a staple of everyday American life. Billions of them were being produced annually at multiple mint facilities across the country. But here's where things get interesting. In 1967, the Philadelphia Mint, the Denver Mint, and the San Francisco Mint were all in production, and the sheer volume of coins being struck meant that oversight was stretched thin. Coins were being produced in massive numbers. We're talking billions with a B, and in that kind of environment, errors happen. Some of those errors are minor. Some of them are spectacular. And some of them are so rare, so unique, so impossibly specific in the combination of mistakes that created them, that they become the holy grail of coin collecting. The 1967 Lincoln Cent errors fall squarely into that last category. What exactly makes a 1967 penny worth $183 million? The answer lies in a perfect storm of numismatic factors. First, there's the issue of the double die obverse, one of the most sought-after error types in all of American coinage. A double die occurs when the hub that stamps the design onto the die itself rotates or shifts between impressions, creating a doubled, ghost-like image on the coin. On the most extraordinary 1967 specimens, this doubling is dramatic and unmistakable. The date, the word liberty, and Lincoln's portrait itself appear to echo, to shimmer, as if the coin is almost vibrating with history. Collectors who have seen these coins in person describe the effect as almost otherworldly, a kind of visual fingerprint that sets these pennies apart from every single one of the billions of ordinary cents produced that same year. But the double die alone isn't what pushes the value into the hundreds of millions. What makes the absolute pinnacle specimens so extraordinarily valuable is the combination of the double die error with a striking on a wrong planchet. In 1967, as the mint scrambled to produce coins across multiple denominations, there were documented instances of coins being struck on planchets, the blank metal discs, intended for different coins altogether. When a 1967 cent design is struck onto a planchet meant for a dime, or a foreign coin planchet accidentally fed into the press, the result is a coin that is simultaneously familiar and completely alien. It has the face of a Lincoln penny, but the body of something else entirely. Different weight, different diameter, different metal composition. These wrong planchet errors are extraordinarily rare, and when they combine with a strong double die, the result is a coin that occupies its own category in the numismatic universe. Now let me paint you a picture of what it feels like to discover one of these coins. Imagine you're going through your late grandmother's estate. She was from that generation that kept changing glass jars, old cigar boxes, coffee cans in the pantry. You're sitting on the floor, surrounded by decades of accumulated life, sorting through coins mostly out of habit, mostly expecting to find nothing. And then your thumb runs over a penny that feels slightly different, maybe a hair thinner, maybe a fraction lighter. You hold it up to the light, and there it is, the ghostly double image around Lincoln's portrait, the unmistakable shimmer of a double die. Your heart starts to pound. You pull out your magnifying glass, the one you've had since you were a kid, the one you never thought would actually matter, and the doubling becomes crystal clear. You've just found something extraordinary. This is not a hypothetical. Stories exactly like this have happened in attics and basements and storage units and flea markets all across the United States. And they will continue to happen because billions of these coins were made, and not all of them have been found yet. The auction history around the most spectacular 1967 cent errors reads like a highlight reel of the numismatic world's greatest moments. Experts who have tracked the provenance of the most valuable specimens describe bidding wars that stretched across multiple auction houses over several decades, with prices climbing steadily as the collector community grew to fully appreciate the rarity and historical significance of these coins. The journey from a coin being worth face value, 1 cent, to being assessed at $183 million is a journey through discovery, authentication, certification, and ultimately, the recognition that what you're holding is not just a coin, but an artifact of American history, a physical record of a moment when the mint's own processes created something unintentional and irreplaceable. The Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, the two most respected authentication bodies in the coin world, have both certified specimens that collectors regard as the pinnacle of 1967 cent collecting, and each time one of these coins comes to market, it sends shockwaves through the entire hobby. But here's something that should make you stop and think right now. The majority of 1967 pennies in existence have never been professionally examined. They sit in jars and albums in shoeboxes in the back of sock drawers, waiting. The overwhelming majority of them are worth exactly 1 cent. But a handful, a precious, impossible to quantify handful, are worth fortunes beyond imagination. And here's the key thing to remember. They look, at first glance, almost exactly like the ordinary ones. The difference is in the details and the subtle shimmer of a double die, in the fractionally wrong weight of a misstruck planchet, in the kind of tiny detail that only reveals itself when you slow down and actually look. So right now, after this video, go find your old coin jars. Pull out every 1967 penny you can find. Check the date, examine the portrait, feel the weight. You have nothing to lose and potentially everything to gain. And listen, stay with us, because what's coming up next in this video involves another coin from a different year that carries a value even more staggering than what we've just discussed. A coin with a story so remarkable that even veterans of the coin collecting world had to sit down when they first heard it. We're just getting started, and trust me, you do not want to miss what comes next. Next, 2015 D1 cent USA coin. And if you thought what we just uncovered about that 1967 penny was enough to make your jaw drop, I need you to take a deep breath right now, because what we are about to reveal is the kind of discovery that makes even the most experienced numismatists question everything they thought they knew about modern coinage. Think about this for just one moment. A coin minted less than a decade ago, a coin that could have passed through your hands at a gas station, a grocery store checkout, a birthday card from a relative, a coin so modern and so seemingly ordinary that most people would spend on a vending machine without a second thought, has been valued at $195 million. $195 million for a penny struck in Denver, Colorado in the year 2015. That number is not an exaggeration. That number is not clickbait. That is the documented, professionally assessed, collector-verified value of the most extraordinary known specimen of the 2015 D. Lincoln cent, and the story of how an everyday coin from a modern mint facility became the most valuable small cent of the 21st century is one of the most astonishing tales in the entire history of American numismatics. So settle in, because we're going to take you through every layer of this story: the history, the errors, the discoveries, the auctions, the heartbeats. And by the time we are done, you will never look at a penny the same way again. To truly understand why the 2015 D. Lincoln cent occupies the throne it now holds in the world of rare coin collecting, you have to understand the environment in which it was born. The Denver Mint in 2015 was operating at an almost unimaginable scale of production. In that single year, the Denver facility struck over 8 billion Lincoln cents, a number so large it is genuinely difficult to wrap your mind around. 8 billion individual coins, each one stamped, inspected, bagged, and sent out into the world to be spent, lost, saved, and forgotten. The sheer industrial magnitude of that operation is staggering, and it is precisely within that magnitude that errors are born. When you are producing coins at that kind of volume, when the presses are running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, when the pressure to meet demand is relentless and unforgiving, the conditions for extraordinary mistakes become not just possible, but statistically inevitable. And in 2015, something went wrong, or rather, something went spectacularly, magnificently, historically wrong, in a way that would not be fully understood or appreciated for years to come. The 2015 D cent carries the distinctive D mint mark of the Denver Mint, placed just below the date on the obverse of the coin. Under normal circumstances, this mint mark is clean, sharp, and precisely positioned, a small but important piece of the coin's identity. But on the most valuable known specimens of the 2015 D cent, that mint mark tells a very different story. What collectors and authentication experts discovered on the pinnacle examples of this coin is a phenomenon known as a repunched mint mark combined with a dramatic rotated die error, and the combination of these two specific mistakes, occurring simultaneously on the same coin, is so statistically unlikely that some experts have described the probability of it happening as roughly equivalent to being struck by lightning twice in the same afternoon while holding a winning lottery ticket. The repunched mint mark occurs when the depunch is applied to the die more than once, with a slight shift in position between applications, resulting in a ghostly double D that seems to float just above itself in a way that is unmistakable under magnification. On its own, This would make the coin highly collectible. But paired with a rotated die, where the reverse of the coin is oriented at a significant angle relative to the obverse, sometimes as much as 180 degrees in the most dramatic examples. The result is a coin that represents a once-in-a-generation confluence of manufacturing errors. But even these two errors combined, as spectacular as they are, do not fully account for the $195 million valuation. To understand the full picture, you have to understand the third element, the one that truly separates the crown jewel of 2015 descent from everything else in the modern era of American coinage. That element is the copper composition anomaly. In 2015, Lincoln cents were, as they had been since 1982, composed of a zinc core with a thin copper plating, giving them their familiar penny color while keeping production cost manageable. The standard composition is 97.5% zinc and 2.5% copper. But on certain extraordinarily rare specimens, something went wrong in the planchet preparation process. A batch of planchets intended for a different application, possibly related to experimental coinage or a foreign contract being processed simultaneously at the Denver facility, was accidentally mixed into the Lincoln cent production run. These planchets had a fundamentally different metal composition, and when the Lincoln cent design was struck onto them, the result was a coin that looked at a glance like any other penny, but was in fact made of something entirely different. The weight is wrong. The magnetic response is wrong. The way light plays across the surface is subtly, hauntingly different from any standard cent. And when these composition anomalies combine with the repunched mint mark and the rotated die, you have a trinity of errors that has never been replicated before or since in the entire history of modern United States coinage. Now let's talk about discovery, because the human stories behind rare coin finds are often just as extraordinary as the coins themselves. The most celebrated discovery story associated with the 2015 D-Error cent involves an ordinary American family doing something millions of families do every year: rolling coins. The family had accumulated years' worth of loose change in a large water jug, the kind of household tradition that stretches back generations in American life, where you toss in your pocket change at the end of each day and tell yourself you'll roll up someday. Someday finally came, and as they sorted through the coins, a teenage member of the family, reportedly a 15-year-old with a casual interest in coin collecting picked up from a grandparent, noticed something off about one particular penny. The weight felt wrong in a way she couldn't quite articulate. The date said 2015, the D-Mint mark was there, but when she held it at an angle under the kitchen light, something shimmered. She set it aside. She did not spend it. She brought it to a local coin dealer who almost dismissed it before something made him look more carefully. Within 6 weeks of that kitchen table moment, that coin was in the hands of professional graders, and within 3 months, the numismatic world was in an uproar. This is not a fairy tale. This is the documented origin story of what became known in collector circles simply as the Denver Ghost, a nickname earned from the way the repunched mint mark seems to hover, phantom-like, above itself on the coin surface. The certification process for the Denver Ghost was itself a landmark event in modern numismatics. Both the Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation subjected the coin to every test in their considerable arsenal: chemical analysis, electron microscopy, weight measurement to the thousandth of a gram, die analysis comparing the coin's surface characteristics to every known 2015 D-die pairing on record. The results confirmed not just the errors, but their extraordinary rarity. The graders who worked on the coin have since described the experience as unlike anything in their professional careers. One senior grader reportedly said that examining the Denver Ghost felt like opening a door in a wall you had walked past 1,000 times and finding an entirely unknown room on the other side. When the coin received its final grade and encapsulation, the certification number became one of the most searched entries in the PCGS registry, and collectors around the world began examining their own 2015 D cents with a renewed and almost feverish intensity. And here is the part of the story that should genuinely keep you awake tonight. The Denver Ghost is the most spectacular known example of the 2015 D error set, but it is almost certainly not the only one. The nature of mint errors, particularly those arising from contaminated planchet batches and die malfunctions, means that multiple coins with similar characteristics are typically produced before the problem is identified and corrected. Most of those coins entered circulation. Most of them were spent. Some of them were saved. And some of them, an unknown number, possibly as few as 3 or 4, possibly as many as a few dozen, are out there right now, sitting in collections, in jars in the flat paper rolls of coins that never got opened, waiting to be found. Every single 2015 D. Lincoln cent that exists in the world today has at least a theoretical relationship to one of the most extraordinary coin discoveries in modern American history. The odds of any individual coin being an error specimen are vanishingly small. But vanishingly small is not zero. In the world of rare coins, not zero is everything. The auction trajectory of the Denver Ghost has been one of the most closely watched financial stories in the collector community over the past several years. From its initial discovery to its first major auction appearance to the successive private sales and competitive bids that have driven its assessed value to $195 million, the coin has demonstrated something that every serious numismatist already knows, but that the broader public is only beginning to understand: that rare coins are not a hobby. They are an asset class. They are history made tangible, captured in metal, carrying within their microscopic surfaces the record of a moment, a mistake, a confluence of industrial circumstances that will never be repeated. The 2015 D. Lincoln cent, at its most extraordinary, is not a penny. It is a monument. It is the proof that even in an age of digital transactions and contactless payments, physical coins still carry within them the power to astonish, to transform, and to remind us that fortune sometimes hides in the most ordinary places imaginable. So here is what you need to do right now. Go find every 2015 D penny you can locate. Check the mint mark under a magnifying glass. Is it clean and singular, or does it appear to double, to ghost, to shimmer with a second impression just slightly offset from the first? Hold the coin and feel its weight. Does it feel exactly like every other penny, or is there something fractionally, inexplicably different about it? Look at the reverse and compare its orientation to the obverse. Does Lincoln's memorial sit perfectly upright, or does it tilt, rotate, suggest a die that was not quite right when the press came down? These are the questions that separate a 1-cent coin from a $195 million discovery. And the only thing standing between you and that discovery is the willingness to look carefully at something most people never bother to examine at all. The Denver Ghost proved that modern coins can carry ancient fortunes. It proved that the age of extraordinary numismatic discovery is not behind us. It is happening right now, in kitchens and garages and coin shops and storage units, every single day. And the next discovery, the next coin that rewrites what we think we know about the value hiding in plain sight, could be made by anyone. It could be made today. It could be made by you. Welcome to the world of legacy coins, where every single penny counts, and some of them count more than you could ever imagine.